Add tracks on the beat.
Meet up in New York City. I am Abby Harris, your host today.
What up, what up? Welcome to Beyond the Blockchain. I am your host, Abby Harris. Good morning. Welcome to Beyond the Blockchain podcast.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome.
I am your host, Abby Harris. We do this each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Thank you for tuning in. I am looking forward to this interview. We have a special guest today, which is Val Kleyman. We will be talking about a lot of stuff in the Web3 crypto space. But prior to me getting to that, I always have to start out with my shameless plug. If you haven't got a chance to go onto any of the platforms to check out Beyond the Blockchain podcast, the podcast is not only a visual, as I also do write-ups on the interviews. So if you get a chance, you can come and check out the literature that I have written about Val in this interview. So it's always good to look at some of the things that is happening within the space. Also, next week's guest is one of my favorite, Josh Land. He is a Web3 international visionary, and we're going to talk about some amazing things. He has this project where he wants to eliminate student debt. So make sure you tune into that. That will be next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, 10 a.m. This is always good to look at, right? Some people know what it is and some people don't. And when you see the laser eyes, you already know that the laser eyes represent crypto. So this is a good view of what we be looking at. While everyone was looking at the Super Bowl, there were certain people just paying attention to the charts and seeing what they're doing. And this is a good indication of what the expectation of where we're going within this space, and that is to the moon. As we talk about it all the time, we always talk about to the moon and the investments and how to invest, and that's what this whole show today is a lineup of. It's a lineup of bringing Angel Investor Syndicate Val in, and he's going to be talking about amazing things that he is doing within this space. But y'all know how I like to do crypto bets for the Super Bowl, and Taylor Swift ramped up. Bitcoin tops 47K as we move on, and Ethereum broke 25 today. So you already know how I like to do. Just go through. Look like a little blood in the water, but no worries, because we are still on the trajectory. And look at my coin that I've been talking about for a little minute. We're still headed in the trajectory that where we want to be. If you dollar cost averaging in, this is, my boy keep telling me about Casper. I probably need to FOMO in it. Fear of missing out for all those don't know. But this is what's going on here. What is going on here? This is there's one of these things that I like to look at. They go Sue, there's one of them, we in the green, and they go C, they go other one, and then y'all already know, which is my other favorite. There we go. Hint. We at 810. Once again, I am going to shout out to one of my people to bring him on to talk about helium and what's going on and how he has been doing. But prior to that, after the prices, I always like to go and check out my favorite Twitter chat, which is Ask Crypto. Anyone can become a millionaire in crypto. That is the power of this asset. Next 16 months can change your life if you play it correctly. Accumulate the dips and FUDs and sell your position in blow off top in 2025. Yeah, it's a simple plan. Well, you have to have a plan on how you plan on executing or how you plan on getting into the mix. So having resources and information is very important. And this is one of the comments Absolutely, Ash Crypto. The transformative potential of crypto to create a wealth is parallel. Your strategy highlights the essential of crypto investing, patience, timing, and resilience. The next 16 months indeed hold the promise of life-changing opportunities for those who navigate the market wisely. It's not just fumbling in, but you have to market it wisely. That's why you come into Beyond the Blockchain. That's why you read some of these articles. That's why you listen to some of these interviews. And that's why I bring you guests like Val and Josh and Ant and Terrence and so on and so on. The list goes on and on. But we will move on. Why? There's no possible way that I don't talk about the highlight of yesterday. We waited all year to see this, and the naysayers said that it wasn't going to happen, and it did. People ask me who you was going for. Kansas City. Say, oh, you like Kansas City? I say, no, I am a Mahomes fan. I've been a Mahomes fan since he came in. I like the way he shuffle. I like this whole new thing with all these new quarterbacks are playing football. They're not just sitting in the pocket. And what he do yesterday, he did the LeBron. He put the game on his back, him and Kelsey, and they killed it. So the other highlight was one of my favorites was Usher. Hey, now, of course, there was issues. The first thing I heard, my complaint was, oh, the mics is not working. Why did he sound like that? So, of course, it hit the charts everywhere. Everybody was talking about the mics, but you still dancing. He kept it professional. He did everything he needed to do. It says Usher suffered a technological malfunction during the Super Bowl. After the beginning of his performance, fans complained that they couldn't hear Usher. Yeah, because there was a big complaint. It says, oh my God, fans cringe as he nearly falls on skates during the halftime show. Here's the thing. He didn't almost fall on the skates, and the reason why he didn't almost fall on the skates is because, let me pull this up so you guys can see it. Because he does this all the time. Oh, I can't pull that up no more. Oh, here we go. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, here we go. He does this all the time. If you haven't got a chance to see the show, there was just a little, you call that a fall? Yeah, I really call that a fall. If you've been to his concert when he was in the Vegas residency, right? He danced on stage and he was killing it. He killed it on stage. So I don't know. Yeah, little trips. Yeah, you're going to have those, but you're a professional skater, right? I enjoyed it. He has so many different changes. And of course, everybody kept saying, yo, when is Beyonce going to come on? Well, she dropped the album. She's going country this year. She didn't figure it out how she's going to win her Grammy, right? She's going to go into the countryside. But yeah, yesterday was an amazing day. Everybody came out to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was crazy. I had so much fun yesterday. And the sad thing that I got to say, even Reba killed it. The sad thing I got to say about the whole thing about the Super Bowl is football is over and we have to now shift over into basketball. And Cardi B had an ad that was not qualified, that was disapproved. I'm just curious what that ad looked like, but we're not going to check it because we have more important things to do today to get into. Oh my goodness, these people did this to the Wall Street. To get into Val and talk about some of the amazing things that he got going on. Also, we've been this Kanye West thing has been floating a little while about this Vulture album that he's got coming out. So, I'm looking forward to it. But if you didn't get a chance to grab that Usher album, I'm telling you, this was a big day. As we're moving on, I said this yesterday in my show. Like, we don't know what is the outcome of the Wi-Fi frying your brain or all of these things coming into your brain while wearing these devices. We already know what the phone does. We have history on the phone, so there is conversations about this, about the RF radiation in these devices. I don't know what to say. Like I said, it's new. It's a new toy. They got to figure out all the tricks and trades of the toys and everything else. Moving on into my other favorite space I like to talk about, all robots and robotics. They're coming. There's nothing that we can do. We're just going to have to figure out how to live with these things, which they're going to force this on us. So the other thing I came across is robot farming. They found ways to pick peaches. Come on now. They just cut out 100 jobs for the people who work on the farms with this. Now, they already say people complain that they don't want to work on the farms. But when you have a system like that that's doing all of the picking of the fruit, then, man, listen, life is changing very fast. What is your job? What are you going to do in the future? Are you going to be a programmer? Are you going to be an investor? Or are you just going to stand on the side and let this technology pass you by? Speaking of this, I went into this thing about this gentleman who... this iPhone thing is a very big thing about the safety of your iPhone and what people have been doing. I want y'all to check out this interview. It's only going to be a little bit of time before we get into this interview.
Devil. I'm here because I got too carried away, and sometimes when you do that, you end up places like this.
Aaron Johnson is due to spend the next several years at this high-security prison because he stole hundreds of iPhones, and from them, hundreds of thousands of dollars. He exploited a vulnerability in Apple's software, the same vulnerability I've been investigating for the last year.
He grabbed the phone and disappeared.
Along with others, Johnson, seen here in red, would target people in and around bars in Minneapolis to get their phones and their passcodes.
I just watch them put it in.
How many numbers?
6. Rarely I get 4 digits.
In cities across the country, thieves are using the iPhone passcode to get into stolen phones and loot their victims' bank accounts and money apps. And
this is one of the things that I've been talking about all week about being safe with your devices. And I know Apple just created that new update. So do your due diligence, do your research. This is Beyond the Blockchain podcast. Whereas we move on to our next space, which is our interview with Val. Make sure you tune in each and every Monday, 10 a.m. This is when I bring you some of the most exclusive interviews and stuff. As we move on, let's go.
What up? Welcome to Beyond the Blockchain. Today's guest, I have Val coming in from Angel Syndicate. Welcome, Val.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yes, my name is Val Kleyman. I run an Angel Syndicate. We have about 500 limited partners where we invest in all kinds of things from SaaS, fintech, PropTech, blockchain, of course, AI-related opportunities, secondary opportunities, all kinds of things, yes.
There's a lot of levels to just investing, and then there's a lot of levels to blockchain and a lot of levels of crypto and meetups. So what was your introduction into the space that made you say, okay, this is what I want to do? You see the benefit in it?
You. We met in Crypto Mondays, and we had a great start. A very interesting group of people. You were running a very interesting platform there, bringing in guests, doing presentations. It was very interesting, and I enjoyed it immensely. That was more of a blockchain-leaning focus, and you had a bunch of different crypto companies. But my focus is a little bit more open, more broad, and I try and focus a little bit on everything. Just bringing deals to my investors. And the interest came through just networking and the people. It just seems like there's a huge need for Web3 and further development. And now that there's AI in it, it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah. it's a real big ball game. But everybody can't start an angel investing company, right? Usually when you hear investing, a lot of people have to have a certain bar of entry. It's not an easy thing. I know that right now we're coming into the space that all the big guys, JP Morgan, BlackRock, are talking about fractionalizing stuff. And this changed the game a lot. So now you're on that other side of money and investing. How does that play a part within the space?
Maybe it would help if I give you a little more background about myself personally. So I was, after I graduated college, I was working at FedEx corporate sales for a couple of years, for a decade, and I did pretty well there. They sent me to the President's Club for selling and all that. It was a very exciting opportunity. Along the way, I've always built two things along the way, because you never know. You always need something to fall back on. So I always build parallel. Along the way, as I was working at FedEx, I was building a little real estate portfolio. A few years after that, I left FedEx, went into my real estate portfolio, and in early 21, I sold most of it. But as I was interested in selling, as I was doing the selling, I started building two companies. One was an angel syndicate, and the other was a Web3 application, an AI-driven Web3 application. And through my investing career, I realized that it is really important for you to identify the market cycles that allow you to get in at a fair price and get out at a better price. And through the real estate aspect, I was buying various foreclosures from 2008 to 2012, 2016, and then later I mostly sold most of it. But that taught me a lesson, because earlier, before that, I lost a bunch of money on property because I was buying it at the peak. No one told me you shouldn't buy those 80-20 loan properties in the worst part of town. But later I learned that you shouldn't do that.
Some things you got to learn the hard way, I guess.
Something, and painfully, in a very expensive way. Yeah, I've learned that. And what I try and do now is I try and bring that perspective into venture and share it with the LPs that come, because many people might have received a check from an exit, or maybe they're personally wealthy or accredited in some way. You have to be accredited to join the syndicate. Accredited means you would have $1 million in net worth or $250K a year as a salary. And most of the people that come in have their own perspective. There's some things called the power law in venture capital that allows you or encourages you to invest in a broad range of opportunities and then exit the ones that have an exit. That's expensive. That's very, very expensive. And my perspective is a little different. I like to come in when nobody's interested. I like to share those deals with all the LPs, and it's harder, arguably, to do that because no one's interested. But I would never invest in something at the peak unless I truly believe that there's some sort of light at the end of the tunnel.
We was always taught buy low, sell high. That's the thing. So how do you go about finding those gems that no one's really interested in?
So no one's really interested in it in different parts of the company's journey. So 2 years ago, you wouldn't be interested in a company that is not. 2 years ago, you would only be interested in a company that's blockchain related because of the crypto hype. From last year on to today, you're only interested in things that have to do with AI, right? In a year or two, you'll only be interested in things that have to do with space travel and whatever. And so you really have to kind of understand what your focus is and narrow it down, and then say, okay, I'm only interested in things that I understand. Never invest into something, no matter how interesting it sounds. And this is something we learned from our crypto, right? No matter how interesting it sounds, take a nap, go to sleep, think about it, waste some time, do nothing, and just come back to it. And if it still looks amazing, maybe you should consider and get some advice from other people. But you really want to understand what you're doing, what the business model of the company is, how they make money. For the longest, you're talking about the BlackRock invasion of crypto and all that. There's a big saying is buy the rumor, sell the news in crypto. And unfortunately, it's all rumor. Everything is rumor until you really know anything. Outside of a few insiders, there's really very little way for you to get in on the ground floor. And so the way I do it is a little different. I study the peaks of the cycles that I'm participating in. And once I understand enough about it during the peak where everyone's investing and, it's the roaring 20s, and then it craters, that's when you want to come in and pick up the pieces. So you study during the peak and you invest during the crater.
So in a situation like FTX or Luna, does that same process apply?
The process applies when you start hearing it from your friends in stores, closest relatives, or various people that you don't even know. During the last recession, there was a huge influx of people with no experience buying houses. And arguably, you could talk about that in many industries today. People are buying things they don't understand with money that is borrowed. You want to know that as soon as the inexperienced amateurs come in, the retail investors, you can call them, that's when you have to get it. That's your signal. That's your time. That's your checkbox. As soon as you realize that they are the ones pushing the narrative, it's done.
2020 or 2021 or 2022, where they let all the retail investors into trading and Robinhood and all of these exchanges popped up. And on the other side of that, the corporations was loving it because it's blind investors. They just putting their money into something that they don't have any idea on what it is. One thing I push about some of these Web3 projects and some of these tech projects is, does these things have real world impact? That's the only reason why I feel like it's of value to invest in them. Like if it has impact, because sometimes a lot of the stuff be made up Star Wars stuff and you be like, okay, I'm wishing on a dream or a star that this thing goes to the moon, but it never had a chance from the beginning because the basic steps or things that you would do to do your research and study to pay attention to see if this has any value in the low, a lot of people don't do. So you being the lead, because right now you're leading people's money into different investments that you follow, that you find to involve into your angel investing syndicate. Do you get a lot of pushback from people who see projects that you bought and they're like, yo, I don't know, I'm not feeling these projects? Or I kind of
Yeah. Sure. You're not obligated to invest in anything when you're joining in my syndicate. Right? It's investing is optional. You can see all the deals and just pass on everything and pretend like you're just browsing and tire kicking. You could do that. But that is not adding value to you or to us. And so it isn't really the best approach. You want to dabble. You want to invest a little bit. Firstly, to understand how it works. Most people have no idea. Yeah, you can just click and pay here, but you want to understand how the process works. You want to understand terms of the industry. You want to understand people who know things. You want to start reading publications, following people who understand and bring these deals about, because you don't really know what the GP is bringing you. If the GP, for example, brings you a terrible deal, you should call them out and you should say, hey, listen, this is awful. This is dog shit. This is never going to pass the muster. I don't know why you're doing this. You should reconsider. But at the same time, you should be forthcoming with the GP and say, hey, listen, this is a great deal. I think I'm going to bring in some of my friends, people who are other accredited, and they're interested, and then we can all do it together. There should be both sides of the coin. Yes, I get pushback. I get pushback for fees. I get pushback for carry. I get pushback for everything. But that's life. Not everybody's going to be able to participate in all the deals that we bring about. You know, what I want to say about the crypto stuff is that I have a personal blockchain project that I'm doing myself, and I'm still looking for product market fit. It isn't perfect. I'm talking to companies, I'm talking to business people, trying to understand how can this help you? How can this be of service? What can I do to change it, pivot, to actually be helpful to you? And if it isn't helpful to you, there's no reason why you should pay me anything. I wouldn't ask for it. Most crypto projects don't do that. Most crypto projects come out and say, token, here's the token. And okay, great, token, fantastic, now what? Well, token, it's still here. In reality, that token is worthless. It is usually a rug pull, unfortunately.
Hold on. Did you see in the news that there was a pastor that sold his whole congregation tokens, and he said that it's backed by liquidity is backed by God.
By God. That's you know, and who's to say it isn't? Who's to say it isn't? No, yeah, you know, there's a lot of scammers out there. You know, in truth, I'm not saying everybody who brings out a token is a scammer. What I would say is that you want to get involved on a deep level to really try and understand what this person is about. You want to talk to the founder. You want to talk about the actual company. How does the company vision making money? Because if you're talking to some shill or some market participant who's, just posting and doing social media, you're not getting any information. And so if the founder is making himself difficult to reach, difficult to find, complicated, using all kinds of industry terms, industry jargon that you, the normal person, can't understand, that's a pass. That's a huge pass. But if the founder is open and isn't shilling, but is explaining and trying to find a connection between you and that product, then he's actually looking for a sale. And if he's looking for a sale, that means the money in your pocket is important to him, her, enough to find that connection. And that's what business really is, right? It's a connection between people.
Yeah.
You can make that connection and add value in some way, enough for that money to move from their pocket to yours, then it doesn't matter if it's a crypto, AI, venture, makes no difference, or a grocery store in the corner, it makes no difference. It's just that connection that has to exist.
Okay, so what do you tell early investors right now? Because they got this thing about the older generation got a bunch of money, right? The boomers, that they don't want to invest in, but it's the younger generation, the Gen Zs, that's what they call them, that are pro crypto, have a lot of money, and willing to invest. But how do you deal with that comparison of meeting an old school Wall Street guy compared to meeting a DJ?
DJ. I meet a lot more DJs than I do old school Wall Street guys. You wanna understand a couple of things. So the boomers made a lot of money because more liquidity was available now for retail investors through inflation and money print. Okay. If we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the dollar would be a little stronger compared to what it is now, and valued more, and you'd be able to buy more in the grocery store, and you'd be able to spend more on whatever it is you're doing. But the boomers have lived through 2 recessions, various market turbulence, 9/11, 93. You're talking about a weathered generation that isn't going to say, "Oh, token, I'm in. No. That's not what they're going to say. They're going to say, tell me more, if they're interested at all. Tell me more, and tell me how this isn't the casino set up for you to be the house. Tell me how this isn't that. And if you can tell them that, then maybe they'll be interested. The difference between today's investors and boomer investors is that boomer investors took a lot more risk, but also got a lot more calculated risk. The investors of today, if you call yourself an investor by day trading, that's not investing, that's speculation. Look up Webster, that's the definition. Let's just clear that up. An investor is someone who believes in whatever they're doing and in it for the long haul. A Buffett, a Munger, those are investors. A degen is someone who's in there flipping and trading and doing whatever options. So if you're a degen and you want to cater to the investing public, and you want to show them that there's value in what you're doing, then it's up to you, similar to the way it is up to me for my other project, to prove that to you. I need to show you without a doubt that it's worth it, right? If we use mainstream applications, various tools, I'm not going to name any, but you use them all day long. We're on one right now. These applications serve a purpose. They provide a value, and you'd pay for them a certain amount if you're interested. But the applications that people are bringing on are either too complex or too far in advance. You can be right. You can also be really, really early, and that's wrong too. So sometimes you have to really understand where you are and what you're building and for whom. And if you're building it for the people that have a lot of money, man, your job's real tough.
The funny thing is, funny that you say you can be right and then you can be wrong. A lot of these projects be right, but they be wrong. They don't be at the right time. A lot of this Web3 crypto stuff is still confusing to a lot of people. And it's been around for 10, 11 years. And people are still getting, the adoption is becoming more relatable to people. What do you think the temperament of where we at? Because you say you study cycles, right? So what is this cycle basically saying right now, where we at in the middle of being between bear and bull, and the corporations coming in and semi-validating, and then Hong Kong came in and then they validated. So what is the temperament of a person who studies charts and signals?
Just because they're buying into it doesn't mean they're validating it. All these companies gamble in the markets just like the retail investors do. So it doesn't really validate anything. And when you say validating, you mean Bitcoin. We're talking about only BTC. They're not creating ETF for, Luna or FTX. Nobody's creating ETFs with this garbage, right? But, and don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of crypto. I'm building into it. Right? I get it. I like it. I believe in it. Long haul, I believe in it. But they're creating a finance instrument that allows them to go to their investors and say, hey guys, let's buy some ETF, and this ETF will buy some BTC. And just like anything else, you are gambling with them. There is no market cycle that prevents people from stupidity. So if you don't really know what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you're in the worst market cycle, best time to buy, best market cycle, worst time to buy. You can always be wrong. It doesn't make a difference. What's important is that we always go back to the education part. Is that you really have to understand what you're doing. And I'm in it, and I don't understand a lot of it either. And if I don't get it, man, the mainstream has no business being in there. Unless you're a developer, you're highly technical, you can read code, solidity, all that, then go ahead and dabble, risk it all. But no way, man. That's tough. That's a big deal.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of people in the belief that things is going to change just because these big guys then came in. It's been a long time since we stayed above 40,000, and in this long haul. So do you have any ideas that we will shoot to some of these speculation prices that they talking?
No, and I don't care. It doesn't make a difference if it's 40,000 or 400,000 or 4 million. It makes no difference to me. That's not the point. The point is, you know, my developers get paid in crypto, right? So they like crypto, they understand it. And they always send me messages like, oh yeah, hey, look, it's 40,000 or ETH is 2,200. Who cares? It doesn't make a difference. We're in it to build something. We're not in it to speculate. That's a different part of the business. If you really want to speculate, then you're on Robinhood, you're buying fractional whatever, you're in other places, you're buying fractional shares, you're buying crypto. That's a speculation business. When you're talking about building something, that's a very different environment. You're talking about committing your life and your resources and your time and everything that you hold dear, and what's suffering, right? Your family suffering while you sit there in your sleepless nights trying to build something. That's a different type of commitment. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go, and I don't really care. To me, Bitcoin isn't a description of what I can build. It's the blockchain concept is what I believe. That's what I believe. And that trust concept that was originally written in that white paper peer-to-peer for Bitcoin, that's been erased and dragged through the mud and like burned and like thrown into the garbage 1,000 times by all these scammers and rug pullers. That's what they've done. And to me, that's an insult to the whole industry that you're trying to shill. So understanding where you are versus what you're building is very critical to me. And
so I'm glad you said that. Building in this space, identifying and vetting good developers. What is your process? Because a lot of people want to build and then they get into a developer that somehow maybe conversations don't go right, business agreements don't go right, they try to freeze your domain name, all types of stuff. How do you go and combat and just build a team?
I've been screwed by around 8 developers personally, from all parts of the world, from Pakistan, India, US. Nobody's immune, right? Most of it boils down to a non-dev misunderstanding of core concepts and timelines. So if you ask a developer to go build you a Solidity contract and then put it up on the front end, and create a back end, and do all that, that's a lot of money. You know, that takes and costs a lot of money. And so if your ideas are not clear, it's kind of like building a house, right? If you tell the plumber, hey, Mr. Plumber, go fix my sink, and then the plumber says, wait, but the rest of the house is falling apart, and you'll be, oh yeah, just fix that too. The plumber is going to be like, well, that's going to cost you a lot of money. That's called the change order, right? And so when you change things with developers, that's really tough. That's like a new version of deployment. That's basically a new everything. So you really want to understand what you're asking for first. Then, if you know what you want and how to build it, you need to have enough funds to build it. You have to get some sort of proposals from various developers. And, you know, if they come in higher, over, under, that's a conversation. But where to find them? There's lots of places. You can go on Upwork, you can go on Fiverr, Deal. You know, nobody's building in office buildings as a startup. You're doing the best you can with who you can find. I've had developers from so many different countries, and so far I've been good with one, and I'm lucky to have the guy. But I feel like there's really no quick answer for that. You have to just keep looking and kicking tires and doing that kind of thing. That's just
I know developers is like finding a good mechanic.
Yeah, or you can partner up with them and say, hey, listen, I want to build this thing. Do you want to do it for me for free and be a partner? Most developers are not going to do that. They're looking to pay the bills, right? Everybody needs to pay the bills. And you have a lot of layoffs these days that people are, not really looking to do free work. They want to be paid, unfortunately. So that side of the coin is about to hit our economy too.
Oh, that side is getting ready to hit hard. I just seen Jack Dorsey said he's going to do 1% of his company, and then I seen Tesla, and that's scary. Like, because I thought the tech sector was safe compared to e-commerce, to where you see all these people running in stores that they don't even want to open up brick and mortar stores anymore because of all the sales. But now you're saying the tech sector is getting ready to have a very huge thing of layoffs. So now, speaking about that, is that a good reason to be an investor or to start your own business or start your own company?
If you look at the high-flying unicorns, I hate that term. I wish people would never come up with that stupid term. If you look, you know what it is? It's an excuse to be stupid, is what it is. Oh, it's a unicorn. We're going to invest. We're good. It's a unicorn. What? You know, to answer your question, the best companies, the strongest companies, have always built through or started in recessions. If you have a company that started in 2021, that company is definitely, unless they raised so much money and have saved so much money and were so smart about it, it was that company.
Well, you know something. Unless the idea made sense, because in 2021 they was throwing money at everything. Like they were just throwing money at everything that said AI on the back of it. You have a blank website, put .ai, and you can get grant funded for something.
That's still happening. That's still happening.
Oh man!
But investors are getting wiser to that. You know, they're getting wise. They're starting to understand that it's not. You can have a few open AIs. Okay, that's the foundation. That's like Ethereum, you know, Polygon. Those are foundational. Avalanche. Those are foundational ecosystems, right? That's infrastructure. You need that to build on top of. And so investors, LPs, are starting to get wiser, realizing that you can have a few of those, but the rest have to incorporate pieces of them into their existing vertical. That has to exist on a scale where you can use that technology to make your company better. It's like an employee. It's like having employees, right? You hire the really best and hope that your valuation goes up because they are there to help you do that. If you're investing in that manner and you understand what that AI component is doing for that business, then you're going to do well. But if you're just investing because it's called AI, yeah.
Well, some people invest because it's called crypto.
Oh, I mean, forget it. The Brooklyn
so I'm not going to keep you long because we did make some time, but I got two very important questions. Yuri usually asks these questions. One is a book that you're currently reading and a book that has changed your life.
A book that I'm currently reading, a book that has changed my life. Right now, I am focused on reading a couple of specific newsletters. So when I need ideas or when I need clarity, I try and save over the course of whatever the day. I just save articles that I want to read for later, and so later I just go back and reference them. That includes blogs, industry specific newsletters, things like that. I like a newsletter by a guy named Lenny Rachinsky. He writes, he's an ex-Airbnb co-founder, and he writes amazing stuff for people who are looking to hone in on product market fit and create a more valuable company and whatever they're building. So that's a good one. And a book that's changed my life, I'm going to show it to you. This is an audiobook that I bought around 10 years ago called Don't Get Voted Off Real Estate Island. You'll never find it. It's out of print. It's written by a guy named Mike Cantu out of California. One day, a long time ago, I went to visit the guy in Cali, sat down, gave me an hour of his time, feet up, very cool, very composed, basically set me on a path to my future investing.
Everybody always go for Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, it's a good book. A good one from that collection is Before I Quit My Job. A really good one is Before I Quit My Job. It was a solid book. It had a lot of action items that you can actually use on your day-to-day.
All right, Val, thank you very much. But before we go, tell how people can reach out, get in contact with you, connect with you.
You can find me on advalorum.io. That's my AI marketplace. We are building it for, we're using crypto, we're using blockchain, we're on Matic. We're trying to incorporate how any business can use the blockchain to scale their goodwill. So, for example, if this podcast does really well for you, one day you might want to sell it. But if you have no goodwill, no quantifiable goodwill, then the brokers will try and negotiate goodwill. Goodwill is not something that they like to use because it's uncollateral. There is no collateral, and you're not able to pinpoint exactly how much goodwill there is. But we built a marketplace to fix that. And so our digital collectibles allow businesses and passion creators to create whatever they want and use that as a goodwill for your purpose, your business, whatever it is you want to do. So you can always find me on advalorum.io. My syndicate is your purpose, your business, whatever it is you want to do.
What up? Welcome to Beyond the Blockchain.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Blockchain podcast. We do this each and every Monday. Make sure you tune in. Thank you. Peace. See y'all later.
Our tracks on the beat.
Meet up in New York City. I am Abby Harris, your host today.
What up? Welcome to Beyond the Blockchain. I am your host, Abby Harris.